Imagine this. You've written an amazing script, but no one knows about it because you're too uncomfortable with self-promotion. What if I told you there's a way to share your creative journey without feeling icky or inauthentic? Today, we're diving into Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, a game-changing book for screenwriters and creatives who want to build an audience without compromising their authenticity. This is the first ever episode of the Writing Chops Book Club, where we break down the best business, branding, and strategy books to help screenwriters like you thrive. And stick around because I'll show you how sharing your process, not just the final product, can make a world of difference in your career. And hey, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss a chop. Show Your Work is a punchy, fun, and inspirational book for people who hate the very idea of self-promotion. This makes it the perfect starting point for screenwriters looking to build a presence without feeling fake or forced. The big idea? Self-discovery is way more impactful than self-promotion. Instead of trying to be the expert with all the answers, bring people along your journey. Share your progress, both online and offline. By being true to yourself and sharing your genuine interests and thoughts, you're going to attract a much more passionate and loyal audience. This kind of thought process speaks volumes for screenwriters. One of the greatest things about your job is it's an ongoing learning experience. Every time you pick up a pen, a keyboard, or a phone, or whatever you're writing on these days, you're looking to take some sort of experience you've had or lesson you've learned and you apply it to the script. Now, the traditional way of doing this would be to show your final, fully realized end result, ensuring that you don't burden people with the process. I mean, who wants to invite an audience to see how the sausage is made, right? Well, Show Your Work looks to break away from that thought process and highlight the benefits of bringing people on your journey rather than trying to meet them at your destination. But how exactly can you engage, entertain, and inspire your audience outside of providing the finalized piece of work? Well, that's where Show Your Work concept comes into play. Say a screenwriter has a new idea for a sports story. Let's go a little deeper than that and say it's a film about competitive eating. Why not? The screenwriter wants to frame this unique and unusual activity just like an underdog sports film, with a shy, up-and-coming challenger who has to battle adversity and maybe some personal challenges in order to become the champion. Anyway, this is the initial starting point for a screenplay, the hook, the concept, the thing that made the screenwriter intrigued, and they want to start testing the water to see if it's a viable option to continue. The theory behind Show Your Work is that you don't hide out of sight and quietly perfect the story. Instead, you bring the process into the light. Maybe you want to conduct some interviews with previous competitive eating champions, look for inspiration and real-life stories that can inspire your work. Instead of taking notes and keeping them hidden on a Google Doc, how about you record an interview, with permission of course, and then put it online? Tell people what your intention is and show them the steps you're taking to get there. If you continue to do this, as you progress, you will slowly but surely start growing engagement with people online. And then if someone else sees something about competitive eating, they'll think of you and maybe drop you a link. Hey, I just came across this article and I thought of you. Now, there's probably the question, why do this? How is this helping my film get made? Well, this is one of those indirect activities. If you've been networking at film festivals or just engaging people in your local industry, you probably connected with a few of them on social media. By showing that you're actually enjoying the process and that you're actively working, you're also advertising yourself to any producers or decision makers online who may scroll past your updates in their feed. Instead of hiding for months at a time, you're reminding people that you exist and that you're working on something unique, and hopefully giving it a unique angle as well. Just reminding people that you exist is a huge part of success. Also, this kind of self-progress campaign feels so much more natural, transparent, and honest in comparison to those uncomfortable self-promotional tactics. There's another great section of the book that dissects the phrase, "My work speaks for itself." It's usually used by creatives who want their work to be appreciated for what it is rather than how it came to be. However, Austin discusses the concept of "my work speaks for itself" and how it's a little misguided. Human beings are so interested in understanding where things come from, how they're made, and who made them, that this idea of the work speaking for itself is actually off-putting. Here's a quick excerpt from the book that you might enjoy. Art forgery is a strange phenomenon. You might think that the pleasure you get from a painting depends on its color and its shape and its pattern, says psychology professor Paul Bloom. And if that's right, it shouldn't matter whether it's an original or a forgery. But our brains don't work that way. When shown an object or given food or shown a face, people's assessment of it, how much they like it, how valuable it is deeply affected by what you tell them about it. Many times it's the story behind something that creates the value. The same goes for the story behind your script and your screenwriting. You may think that the value comes from the work, but if we take Austin's point of view, the value actually comes from the person creating the work. And that is something that makes the entire experience much better. Not just for the producers or decision makers you are looking to work with, but for yourself as well. Screenwriting success comes from small steps taken often. And this is exactly what Austin is preaching. Throw away the concept of overnight success and instead look at daily documentation. And it doesn't have to be much. Once a day, after you're done with your day's work, go back to your documentation and find one little piece of the process that you can share. Where you are in the process will determine what that piece is. If you're in the very early stages, share your influences and what's inspiring you. If you're in the middle of executing a project, write your methods or share your works in progress. If you just completed a project, show the final product. Share scraps from the cutting room floor or write about what you've learned. You will be amazed at how much you can get done when you focus on small, easy to achieve steps. This is why we talk so often about the concept of one email a day. It's giving you an achievable way to connect with people on a daily basis. If you want to learn more, we've got something for you in the description that should help with that. And don't worry about things not being perfect either. Perfectionism usually has more to do with the inability to make minor decisions, more so than a demand for higher quality end results. Personality, punctuality, and prolificity will always get you further than perfectionism. Science fiction writer Theodore Sturgeon once said that 90% of everything is crap. The same is true with your own work. The trouble is, we don't always know what's good and what sucks. That's why it's important to get things out in front of others and see how they react. If you don't think you have the time, simply look at the nooks and crannies of your day-to-day life and dedicate these moments to sharing your progress and your work. Skip that second episode in the evening or use your commute time tomorrow. Click here for more on that topic. And finally, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by some of these ideas, Austin has one more piece of advice on advice. Some advice can be a vice. Feel free to take what you can use and leave the rest. There are no rules. I hope you enjoyed this summary of Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I definitely recommend that you check out the full thing. You can find it online or in most bookshops. Before you leap, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Hop into the description to find some free resources that should help you with your journey, and let me know if there's any other books that we should cover next. My name is Chris Brennan, and best of luck honing your writing chops.